Yo, I hit the jeweler, got some goals. I sold a little weed, but I could never sell my soul. And when I'm in LA, you find me out in Lil Coke. I'm a vocal with my ramen, I'ma need another bowl. Let's go.
Hi everyone, I just moved into a new place. I don't have anything prepared, so here's every Norm of the North movie. If a fifth one comes out, I'll just delete this video and make a new project, whatever. These are all the Norm of the North movies!
Shut down again. Did she finally come to life?
Let's go.
You know what? I'm just gonna say it. Norm of the North absolutely disappointed me. And not for the reasons you might expect. Here, let me explain. So, this film has quite the history to it. You'd be surprised how deep it actually goes. So, originally, Crest Animation was making this movie. AKA the creators of Alpha and Omega. AKA a film so bad, it was only surpassed by its sequels in pure garbageness. However, Crest Animation shut down, leading to Splash Entertainment, the creators of the other money laundering sequels, to rework the movie into what was supposed to be a direct-to-DVD movie. That is, until Lionsgate came in and went, hey, it's January, dump this into theaters. As a result, the film has one of the worst critical receptions I've ever seen. So I sat down and watched it, and I mean, it was dog shit, but a very different kind of dog shit. It wasn't this kind of dog shit. It was, you know, it's hard to explain. So let me try to explain it by guiding you through this thing. This is Rob Schneider as a polar bear. So we open up on a boat, and we see a bunch of seals, and then we see Norm, who is hiding in the snow, preparing to hunt seals.
Don't listen to the haters, Norm. You're a polar bear.
I will talk to myself because every animated character needs to do that. So he jumps out the snow and chases after the seal. Cut to some caribou playing cards.
Carabooyah!
What? Huh? Carabooyah. Okay, you know what? Whenever I win a card game, or I don't know, like any game, I'm gonna scream out human booyah. Anyways, so Norm passes by them, and they're all like,
I'd bet Aunt Lizzie fails again.
That's what the kids call epic fail.
Because it wouldn't be a generic kids movie if the main character wasn't a complete goofy failure. Anyways, so the chasing happens, Norm falls off a cliff and dies, and then he sees a girl who says one word in the entire scene.
Hi. Hello.
Hey, Grandma.
This is character development.
Jeez, it's like pure ice up here.
That's because it is pure ice.
An accident waiting to happen, you know? I mean, somebody should really do something.
So he chases the seal more, and that's about it. Cut to a bunch of people. They're taking pictures, and yeah. And Norm finally catches the seal. But then...
Oh, come on. Don't say that. You always know exactly what to say to get to me.
You guys hear that? You hear Rob's mic quality go down into Xbox Live territory? That's because they artificially slowed down his voice clip, so it would fit with the shot. They clearly didn't give a shit. So the humans are all like... And Norm's all like...
You wanna know why I'm not gonna eat you? You got a minute?
This leads into a flashback scene. It's a good transition. So Norm's a younger kid, I guess. And this little girl walks up to him, and for no reason whatsoever, Norm can speak English. So he talks to his grandpa, who is the king, about it, and they literally rip off the Lion King.
Our land is vulnerable, and we're responsible.
What this has to do with not eating seals is beyond me. So everyone laughs at Norm because he doesn't eat the seal, and so Norm is sad now. But then his brother comes in and tells jokes that aren't funny and not important. And then meandering happens and Norm dances, and that's about it. Cut to Norm being sad. He meets up with this bird guy, and they're all like,
I'm twerking. Twerking?
And the food is busting on...
So Norm's all like, I hate humans, I'm xenophobic. And then he's like, I wonder where my grandpa is. And that's about it. He then looks over this cliff here and sees, whatever this is supposed to be.
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear is one of the most secret black projects.
Holy icicle. Is that a human house?
Wait a minute, that's a house? That's not a house, that's a Juju album. Where's the front door? Where's the house on this house? I've seen bounce castles be better real estate. What the fuck is this? So anyways, I guess humans are living here.
Humans are moving here? To live?
Even though humans already live in the Arctic. So Norm is just needlessly xenophobic.
It happened to my buddy.
So Norm goes home and I guess tells the Polar Bear King or something. But everyone laughs at him because this is a generic kids movie. And Norm even shows them proof, but nobody believes him. Because this film has no value whatsoever. So Norm goes goes outside, I guess, and the birds are like, Norm, you are the main character or something. And then the love interest comes in and is all like, Norm, you are the main character, and I will fall in love with you if you save the world.
I have to do something.
Number one or number two?
Norm then walks in on a commercial shoot, and because human bad, he decides to destroy it.
We have to point that director in a new direction.
So Norm, being the extremely likable protagonist he is, decides to GTA Online the film shoot. We're also introduced to the Lemmings, who are totally not the Minions, and furthermore, totally not lazy comedic relief. Oh, what's that? Artistic integrity? Nah, dog. We need more money so Harvey Weinstein can assault more women.
Can you see what will it look like when you, Mr. Green, built all those houses there? You're changing the Arctic. Change isn't always good.
So Norm starts wrecking shit, and that's about it.
Hey guys, how's it going? This is Joseph Matthews, and in this little tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to be funny.
So a slapstick scene happens, I don't care anymore. And yeah, that's So more shit happens, who cares? And Norm tries killing this one woman over here. So she records him, and one chase scene later, she goes back in the house. We then meet the generic bad guy, who is a businessman. Wow, I've never seen a movie where the bad guy is an evil businessman.
I'm sure you think you're a regular Scorsese.
So she shows him the footage of Norm trying to kill her, and for no reason, he thinks it's amazing and will sell the Arctic.
This will definitely get me approval from the Polar Council.
I don't know how dangerous wildlife in the Arctic will sell real estate, nor do I know how the Polar Council will be okay with you endangering the wildlife, but I mean, go off, I guess.
Oh God, you name it. It's gonna be Dubai on ice.
Gentlemen, welcome to Dubai.
So anyways, he's all like,
Find an actor who looks just like that bear. Let's use the Arctic to sell the Arctic.
my evil plan, regular marketing. So Norm decides to become the actor for the marketing agency. So he jumps in the house and then leaves to New York, all while shitty licensed music plays. The home is then taken to an evil warehouse. And then these guys walk in and Norm walks out, I guess. And these guys are like,
Another talking bear?
and so they chase Norm for a bit, and yeah, that's about it. And Norm walks outside and sees the same model of a taxi cab over and over again. So he sees this guy who is also dressed as a bear, and then these guys think the guy in the costume is a bear, and they try and beat up the guy in the bear costume, but then they get beat up themselves. It's very funny, I assure you. So after the battle, the guy in the suit's all like, oh, you are very elegant as a bear.
That costume is exquisite.
Still something I put together.
You even smell like a polar bear.
How would you know what a polar bear smells like? So Norm dances into the audition room because that's funny. And then the lemmings pee into the fish tank, and it's hysterical. It's so funny. So Norm auditions in front of the evil businessman, who, by the way, moves like a Has Been Hotel character.
Meet Norm of the North.
What, we some kind of...
Wait a minute, how do you know his name? Here's hoping that Norm of the North fan 92 can fill me in on the lore. Anyway, so some noises happen, I'm not paying attention. There's another pee joke because it was so funny the first time.
Sorry, Mr. Green, I was just, keeping it real.
So Norm starts dancing, and then for no reason, these guys start dancing with him. And the businessman's all like,
You're hired.
And Norm goes upstairs, and that's about it. But the businessman's all like,
I haven't smelled anything that foul since... Wait a minute.
and it's revealed that Norm's grandpa was kidnapped by the businessman the whole time. Anyway, so Norm and the girl talk in a restaurant or something.
After having been up in the Arctic myself and seeing how beautiful it is, I wonder if it's even good to have houses up there.
This movie's themes are so heavy-handed it hurts. Anyways, there's a long talking scene, who cares? So far, this movie is loud and boring. This is impressive. Anyways, so the business guy comes into the restaurant with the fucking trank gun. I love how he doesn't try to hire anyone or actively prepare for this mission. He just tries to kill Norm. Even though he's a public figure, this would look really bad for him. But whatever, I want to get this video out. It's already fucking overdue. So of course, the businessman epically fails and shoots himself, I guess. Cut back to the office where apparently this escapade actually improved Norm's ratings, even though this would lead to the collapse of the business, since, you know, the guy who owns it caused a public shooting. Anyway, so the businessman tries to get Norm back, but Norm's like, you're acting quite sus. So Norm's about to walk out, but the businessman lets him stay in the model home. So after he leaves, Norm forms a plan with the lemmings to free his grandpa. This of course leads to a funny fart joke.
Not that natural.
So Norm hires this guy and a bunch of bullshit happens and that's about it. And Norm sneaks into the building and there's a talking scene, I don't care. So Green leaves his office. I just realized I could call these characters by any name and nobody would notice. So Osama sneaks into the office. He then opens the secret passage bookway thingy and the lemmings go in but not Norm because...
I'll be too obvious.
Yeah, that. So they sneak in and the grandpa's all like...
Is Norm with you?
How he knows it's Norm is beyond me. So stuff happens and who cares? And then Norm's all like...
I'll save the Arctic first, and then I'll save Grandpa.
Which means more padding's about to happen, so buckle in, kids. So Norm goes on a talk show. And yes, I will make the obvious joke. Just you wait.
My God!
That was some really good mic quality. Oh, also there's a little girl subplot in this movie. I've been negating it from this video, though, because that's how important it is. So Norm goes on the talk show, and here's how that scene goes.
Funny.
Well, there it is. I made the joke. So Norm dances to a copyrighted song again.
Shut up!
Here's the thing about
Cut to 3 years later. So the little girl's all like, Norm, you're saving the world, and that's about it. Now we're at an ice skating rink, I guess?
Norm, can you please come out?
I think I just did.
No way. What? They did not just make that joke. Holy shit. Bass?
Hello? Bass department?
So there's another dance number, and yeah.
Bass.
And Norm's about to expose the businessman and say the N-word or something. But the businessman plays some fake audio files through Audacity. So now it seems like Norm's supporting him. Whoa! So Norm walks into the office and is very mad. And it turns out the businessman is doing illegal things without the Polar Council's consent. Meaning that this movie's gonna be 20 minutes longer!
Big business.
Big box!
So Norm walks out and yeah. And now he's all sad. But then the one girl comes out and is all like, oh, Norm, you're sad. And Norm's all like, my home's gonna die or something. And the woman's all like,
Olympia would love it if you came over.
Olympia.
Ooh, nice and legal.
so they go home and that's about it. Cut to her apartment. So a bunch of bullshit happens that I don't really care at this point. And then the little girl's all like,
Hit Mr. Green where it hurts. His wallet.
I wish I could do the same to the people who made this. So Norm decides to talk to the investors. So he jumps on top of a bunch of cars and, of all things, rips off Sonic Adventure 2. And Norm's all like,
Building in the Arctic will destroy my home.
and Norm then shows them footage of, I don't know, Christian Bale walking. And they're all like, oh, we hate him now. And then out of place fart joke. And so they're all like, you're corrupt and not poggers. But the businessman's like, oh, my plan is already going through. So it's time for Norm to take matters into his own hands. Meanwhile, the bad guy's all like,
Commence operation. Kill that bear.
which is a really lame name for an operation. Yeah, guys, fuck Order 66. Forget about Protocol 10. It's all about Operation Kill That Bear. It's also revealed that he's taking Norm's grandpa in one of the houses and dumping him in the river. Even though it would be easier to just euthanize him at your house. Why'd you even capture him anyways? You didn't need to. Oh, I see why. It's so we can have a generic story. I see. So Norm finds a bunch of houses being taken to the Arctic. And Norm's all like,
I bet Grandpa is in that last one.
very convenient he guessed that. So chasing happens, whatever. And Norm saves him and he's all like, Grandpa, I missed you, whatever. And so he saves him and yeah, that's about it. And they hop out the truck to save the Arctic. 5 years of running later, they then see the boats. But then a helicopter shows up and tranks them and they pass out. You know what else is passed out? My emotional investment. So Norm's now on a helicopter, and the lemmings are here to save them. And then these guys pop out, and some banter happens, and then Norm and his grandpa get free. And yeah, that's about it. I'm wondering if I can plagiarize Doug Walker's review and get away with it. So they make it out alive. Woo! And now they're on the boat home. And that's about it. Meanwhile, the investors send something to ruin the bad guy's business. And yeah, that's it. It's just a bunch of shit at this point. Back on the boat, there's a thunderstorm or something. And they're trying to dislodge the boat, I think. And so they do. But then, it's Uncharted. This leads to Norm getting dropped in the water and rubble falling on top of him. Which, of course, leads to... Oh, come on. No way! Yeah, they reuse footage as an emotional flashback. I don't know what's funnier, the shitty slow motion, the fact they're reusing footage at all, or the fact they think that Norm of the North is an emotional experience. But anyway, so Norm wakes up and you already knew he was going to. Cut back to New York with the businessman. It turns out he's been exposed! And now everyone hates him because that's how generic kids movies go. And the bad guy's all like,
these condos weren't for any of you peasants anyway.
They were for PC users only.
They were for the 1%.
Oh. Oh no. Then he gets locked in the sewers in this though. Norm then wakes up and he's back home. And the girl we don't know anything about is in love with him, I guess. And then Norm's all like,
where's Grandpa?
But then everyone else is all like,
We've searched everywhere, Norm.
but fuck that shit though. Cause in the very next scene his grandpa comes back. Cause why actually create emotional tension when you could just fake it? Norm then becomes king or something.
Norm, I crown you.
So now Norm's in love and already has 3 kids? What? How? They must have had like hypersex or something. Anyways, the camera zooms out and the film can finally end. Except it doesn't. There's another copyrighted song dance number. And then the film ends after this scene. And yeah, that's about it. Well, I tried. I really tried. So like I said, this is a very different kind of dog shit from Alpha and Omega. They both may be generic kids movies, but one of them is obnoxious. Meanwhile, Norm is actually really boring. So much so that it's actually kinda hard to review this thing. The thing is, if you've seen one animated movie, you've seen Norm of the North. This film really doesn't do anything right, but everything wrong it does is no worse than the rest of its genre. It's not even bad enough to be interestingly bad. It's a meandering, boring mess. The story sucks, the characters suck, everything sucks. Is it worse than Alpha and Omega? I couldn't tell you. Alpha and Omega is the more obnoxious movie, but I also remembered it. Norm is more boring and uninteresting, but I didn't want to kill myself as much. Either way, I'm convinced both of these movies aren't actually meant to be viewed by humans. Whether it's aliens or torture, one thing's for damn sure. Children shouldn't be watching these. Anyways, tune in next time when I learn how to properly end videos. Fuck you.
Down again. Did she finally come to life?
Yeah, they made a second one of this. Norm of the North, the keys to the kingdom. So, similar to Alpha and Omega, there are 4 of these things, and because I'm obligated to review them, I might as well review them. So, let's talk about it, I guess. If I had a better intro, you'd be hearing it right now. So we begin with an establishing shot, which looks almost identical to the establishing shots in the later Alpha and Omega sequel. We then meet Norm, who is trying to build Mount Rushmore. What the fuck? On the way to do your mom. Line was too long. He's also not voiced by Rob Schneider this time around.
Gown doesn't fit. Maybe I should quit.
Yes, my favorite. A reference to the O.J. Simpson trials. Perfect for a talking polar bear kids movie. So Norm falls and slaps the captains or something. And then we abruptly cut to Norm's children, who are introduced through fucking skateboarding.
Listen up, guys. You know, I'm Quinn. This is my bro, Chase. And my kid sister Marie.
I'm sorry, but did Kojima write this shit? We are 3 minutes in and the movie's already throwing exposition at us. So then more slapstick happens, I guess. Norm then walks through the Arctic, I guess. And for some reason, the reindeer still don't like him.
How long do you think his reign will last?
30 seconds tops.
Even though Norm saved the Arctic in the last movie, you'd think there'd be more respect, but nah, fuck that shit. Cut to a ceremony where Norm is about to become king of the Arctic. But uh-oh, his phone starts ringing.
Ah, rats, that's my phone, isn't it?
And yes, bears do have phones and they can use them in the Arctic. Never mind questions like, are there power lines in the Arctic and how does he charge the thing? The movie doesn't give a shit and neither do I. So the girl from the first movie calls Norm. And not only does her model look significantly worse, but her hair somehow changed completely different colors. So anyway, she's all like,
We just heard from the mayor. Norm, you're getting the key to New York City.
So Norm's all like,
my first order of business as your king is to go back to New York City.
And that's about it. Cut to Norm's son and wife. Norm's son is all like, I'm worried about dad, but the wife's all like, oh, don't worry about Norm, but the son's all like, but I need to worry about Norm. Cut to a random boat, which I think Norm owns now. It's never acknowledged, nor do I think the writers cared. Norm's just a cock star maid and owns luxurious boats. Anyways, Norm's all like, son, come with me. We're gonna go to New York. And the son's like, whoa, dad, you really mean that? What? Also, the lemmings are here, which I will be ignoring for a good majority of the review. So Norm arrives in New York, and he meets up with the humans from the first movie. Which, speaking of whom, somehow the little girl's hair changed colors again. And then they're all like,
Quinn speaks human too?
which is a very good way of fixing a plot hole, just to exposition the fuck out of it.
Raiden, watch out. There are sentries posted on the connecting bridge. Use the hanging mode.
Hanging?
So anyways, they go back to the apartment or something. The girl shows them poorly modeled food.
This is the prettiest sight these eyes have ever seen.
Holy shit, I'm gonna call.
And then nothing happens for a while. Meanwhile, Norm's other kids steal his phone. I don't know why Norm just didn't take the phone, but okay.
I just want to see if we can live stream Dad's key ceremony.
The live stream is starting right now.
Cut back to New York, where we meet up with Senator Armstrong, who sprays green cologne on himself. This is a plot point. Meanwhile, the kids project the iPhone onto a ice thing. Then the mom finds out and is all like,
I'm disappointed in both of you. Your father would not be happy to see that you did this.
Do what? Use an iPhone? Anyway, so Armstrong shills for water, and Norm falls down the stairs, I guess. And the mayor gives him the key to the city.
It is a key that opens every single door in the entire city.
I thought it was a symbolic thing. So anyways, Norm has to give a speech now.
You prepared a speech, didn't you?
So Norm gives his speech.
I know I'm not the smartest.
This guy is
So on the way home, Norm runs into the one costume guy from the first movie, and he's dressed up as Norm this time. And that's about it. Cut back to home, where Norm and his son have a wholesome Chungus conversation.
I'm really proud to have you as my dad. You're a great kid.
I can't carry anything else right now.
But then, the next day, it turns out Norm's being framed for robbing banks. A plot point I've never seen before in my life. Also, his key was stolen, so now everyone hates him. So Norm's son and the girl are all like,
we have to help.
So they do some computer hacking and are all like, there's an imposter among us. So they go out and meet with the guy who was dressed as Norm in the first movie. But it turns out it's not him. He then, for no reason, gives them the ticket to get his costume at the dry cleaners.
I know your dad is innocent.
If you think about it, this film is really about cancel culture. But then it's revealed
The costume is gone. This is robbed yesterday too, and someone took the costume.
they then somehow find what bank he's hitting next. But then the mom calls the girl, and she's all like, oh, I'm mad at you. But the girl's like, it's okay.
It's okay. I got this.
And the mom's all like, so she and Norm join along, I guess. They then reach the bank and see the imposter, but he notices them and tries to get away. So Norm chases after him. Meanwhile, the crew investigates the bank, but then they meet this guy, a completely random character.
We're trying to stop the robbers, just like you, Fong.
Hold up. You know this?
Yeah, this film is just throwing characters at us now. So this guy owns the bank, I guess. And that's about it. Meanwhile, Norm chases the one imposter, but then he gets caught by the police.
I never asked for this. Maybe you should try getting a job. On second thought, hold on. I have to drop something, okay? And...
So meanwhile, everyone's sad over Norm's arrest. So the rabbit character's all like, oh, I will help you. Cut to Norm in prison. He's very sad until the rabbit comes in and tries to break him out. But before they can break out, we gotta have a comedy.
I have a very important message from your son. Pastrami on pretzel bread, no pickles. Oh, wait, that was my receipt from lunch.
So they escape from jail, and that's about it. But meanwhile, these guys with the money, I guess, are escaping with the money. So the rabbit's all like,
I have an idea. I am rich.
So using the power of Deus Ex Machina, they teleport into a helicopter. They then make it onto the boat, but then they're discovered. This, of course, leads to an epic fight scene. Norm then wins, yeah. But the rabbit's all like,
but we still don't know who calls the shots for the henchmen. Who really stole the money?
So Norm's then all like,
let's return the money to the mayor. He'll know I'm innocent.
We then cut to the mayor telling everybody that Norm is innocent. That was fast. So Norm then walks in and shit. And the mayor brings out some money. But it turns out the money is sus. And it smells like the mayor's cologne.
That bag smells like the mayor. The money smells like
he farted.
Norm then sniffs around and finds out that a costume of him and the key to the city are in the mayor's hidden room. So the mayor was behind it all the whole time.
I'm as powerful as a king.
That's not what being a king is. Being a king is the response.
Making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't fret over every egg.
So they attempt to arrest the mayor, but he then gets away. Thankfully, Norm and his new friend still have the Deus Ex Machina copter. So Norm hops into the other helicopter, and he and the mayor engage in an epic battle.
Okay, Mr. King of the Arctic, don't fuck with this, Senator.
So Norm wins and the mayor is arrested, and yeah, that's it. Everyone then says their goodbyes and heads home, marking a beautiful ending to Norm 2. Except it isn't, because for some ungodly reason, we still have 40 minutes left of this movie. The points are being longer than Alpha and Omega, I guess. But anyways, Norm's back in the Arctic now, I guess. But then he finds a bunch of pollution.
Garbage.
Cut to a bunch of animals playing hockey. Norm goes up to his brother Stan and is all like, dude, you fucked up the whole Arctic. What the fuck, dude? And Stan's all like, fuck you, King Norm. Norm then asks where the hockey sticks came from. And it turns out it came from humans who are stealing ice. So Norm goes up to the humans and is all like, what the fuck, bro? And it turns out Stan allowed the humans to steal the water the whole time in exchange for fucking a hockey stick. So now Norm is pissed. So Norm calls the little girl and the exposition happens.
There has to be some kind of law against stealing ice, right?
There actually are laws that prevent this. According to the footnotes of Section 2B, Paragraph 3 of the Addendum to the Arctic Conservation Act.
Number 1. In 1945, corporations paid 50% of federal taxes.
So Norm then talks to the bird guy, and it's not important, who cares. Norm then sees all the animals playing hockey, and he has an idea.
Mira, I've got an idea.
So he contacts this guy and challenges his team to a hockey match.
My animals would like to challenge your workers to a best-of-3, winner-take-all hockey match.
And the bad guy's all like,
we will crush you.
So Norm asks Stan to become the coach or something, and then tryouts begin, and there's a big old montage or something. And they finally get a team together.
Maria, you're my left winger.
So now a bunch of people are coming to see the games, including the human characters. This is when I realized that this entire second half of the movie is basically an entirely different movie. Not only is the plot, like, completely different from the first half, and not only is the concept completely different, instantly swapping to a fucking sports movie, completely throwing away the keys to the city plot, but the morals, the conflicts, and even the antagonist changes. It's like they wrote 2 more Norm movies and just went, you know what, let's smush them into one movie. So now the team is ready. But before they play, Norm talks to Stan. And it turns out Stan's a narcissist.
I'm gonna listen to you, but only because you—
Shut the fuck up. I will fucking laser you with alien fucking eyes.
Cut to the team getting ready for the big game tomorrow. Stan is approached by one of the humans, who shows him a stretched out picture of a famous hockey guy. And he's all like, do you want to be a famous? And Stan's all like, yeah. And the bad guy's all like,
then meet me over by the ship in 5 minutes.
Straight up. Cut to Norm talking to his wife, but their time is cut short when the little girl shows Norm the phone, where it turns out Stan is in a commercial for the water company. Fuck that though, because the games are beginning.
Hello and welcome, folks.
Go to Steam, uninstall Destiny 2.
What did that caribou just say?
I'm pretty sure he just said—
So the game begins, and after a long and arduous battle, I began to realize that I know exactly how this shit goes. So our heroes get their asses kicked, right? And it's all because Stan is a fucking narcissist. So during halftime, the team starts fighting, and Norm's all like, fuck you, Stan. But Stan's all like,
oh, now the great King Norm is—
And what is Stan?
Stop posting about him.
So Norm asks these guys what to do, and they give him advice or something. I don't know, I'm barely paying attention anymore. So Norm talks to Stan, and it's a very emotional conversation, I assure you.
It's funny. Spent most of my life jealous of you.
But Norm also wants to replace Stan as coach. But Stan's upset about this because of the conflict. So the next day happens, and there's more conflict again because the story isn't original. And he's ultimately forced to sit on the bench. Now it's time for game 2. The game happens and this guy hurts his knee, I guess. Cut to after the game. Norm's all like, good job, team. And shit like that. And for no reason, Stan then apologizes and promises to stop being a narcissist.
I lost sight of what's important. I thought sponsorships are what makes a bear great.
This was written last minute, wasn't it? So Stan's all like, Norm, I want you to play this time. And Norm's all like,
doing your mom? That's just insulting!
I see what you did there, brother.
Brother!
So Norm joins the team, I guess.
Okay, I'm in.
So now it's time for game 2, game 3, I don't know anymore.
I'm sorry. I don't speak big.
Hello? Base? So the games happen in and the heroes are losing, but it's suddenly revealed that
the other team is robotic. Huh? Literally, they're robots, and I think we can use the lemmings to expose them.
Yeah, welcome to the out-of-nowhere Deus Ex Machina plot twist of the year. I'm not even mad anymore, I just don't feel anything. So the new game begins, and the minion knockoff guys destroy the robots, I guess. And Norm's all like,
your team is
sussy.
3 on 3.
right now.
So now the real game begins. And at this point, you know how the plot goes. The heroes win the game, and that's about it. So now everybody loves them, and they get all their ice back. And yes, it is as rushed as it sounds.
Congratulations, Norm! You did it! You saved your home!
Congratulations!
I mean, yeah, this is what I expected it to be. It's certainly a sequel to Norm of the North. I'll give it this, though. It's at least better than the first movie. It's not as simultaneously obnoxious or boring, but it's still not good. For one thing, it feels like two movies stitched together, and it's extremely jarring. The film goes from a semi-conspiracy movie to a sports movie, and the conflicts and everything just suddenly change. But both conflicts are so generic, you know what's going to happen by the end. So the film is not only cluttered, but it's also predictable. My question is, who's buying these and who are watching these? At the very least, Alpha and Omega had like a furry audience, but Norm doesn't appeal to anyone. So how do they keep making these? Money laundering? Maybe? Overall, this film sucked. I got nothing else to say. Fuck you.
When a king, that's me, gives his word, which I did, then nothing is gonna stop him. Except for maybe that.
Jim, I say, not looking so good.
Would you shut up, old man?
Norm of the North, king-sized adventure. Okay, look, I know what this is, you know what this is. I'm tired, you're tired, Jesus wept.
I know you're tired of loving with nobody to love. Honey, what you doing in the club on a Thursday? Since you only here for a girl birthday.
So our film opens with the worst looking text possible. Ah, yes, the default setting, of course. We then get a bunch of footage that doesn't matter at all. We then cut to an aerial dogfight. What the fuck? And I hate to admit this, but the film improved the animation, and it actually looks really good. I'm not gonna lie. The humans have detailed skin textures. They move really fluently. It's not perfect, but goddamn, it's a far cry from Alpha and Omega, Journey to Bear Kingdom. So anyways, this guy's all like,
why are you doing this, Dexter? What's up, everybody? This is the Act Man here.
So these two are fighting over the MacGuffin over here, and that's about it. We then cut to Norm, who's meeting up with his grandpa, who's apparently, getting married, and he wants Norm to supervise the wedding.
You know that Judith and I have been spending a lot of time together.
No I don't. I just met this character. So Norm's all like, yeah, I'll supervise the wedding. So he calls up the human characters, which we all love so much. This has to be a new record for the fastest time I've been disinterested in something. So they're all like, yeah, we'll come to the wedding or something like that. And then, completely out of left field, one of Norm's kids apparently has an app that tracks aliens.
It tracks UFOs.
Huh? And then the characters are all like,
the app is telling me that we've got some flying objects.
So Norm decides to investigate alone, not counting the lemmings, of course. Now, you may be wondering, why would he do this? Well, you see, the answer is... So Norm heads into this cave here, and ends up meeting and getting trapped with the one guy from the airplane scene.
This is what little dude must have been looking for.
Hey, yo, the pizza here.
So the one guy's all like,
talking polar bear. You must be Norm of the North.
You gotta love it when the writers collectively suck their own dick. So Norm gives him the MacGuffin or something, and the other guy's all like,
this has to be returned to China immediately.
So he then explains the backstory that we already kinda know already.
Wait, you threw this valuable artifact thing out the window?
Yes, but it had a computer chip, so I knew I could find it again.
Ah, you see, guys, it had a computer chip, so he knew he'd find it again. He then gives an, I'll admit, pretty cool backstory scene, discussing how his partner has been stealing and selling off relics. And while this scene isn't anything to write home about, it is presented really well. Kinda gives me a pseudo-Uncharted vibe. And look, it's the guy from the first Norm movie!
So Henry makes a cameo.
So anyways, the one guy's all like,
you see, the artifact is of great value, and it must be returned to China immediately.
Is this just Chinese propaganda? So anyways, the guy's all like, oh, if I don't make it, give this to my grandson. And then the lemmings come in, and they make a pee joke.
Might be best to wait for the sun to melt the ice some more, unless...
And then, long story short, an Uncharted set piece happens.
We were almost in there.
They then make it out alive, and that's about it. But then the bad guy shows up, and he's all like, give me the artifact, brother.
Big Chungus.
So the bad guy then knocks out Norman, takes the MacGuffin, but the other guy's all like,
think of the Chinese people. and their treasure.
Holy shit, this film is actually Chinese propaganda. He then knocks the other guy out, and that's about it. Norm then wakes up and goes back home. And also, the human characters show up. Anyway, so Norm's all like, I gotta find the artifact and bring it back to China. So he lets his son take over his king duties. But then the bad guy is now stealing a helicopter. So Norm then jumps onto the helicopter, I guess. And then he goes in it, and that's about it. He then decides to take a nap.
I just have to grab the artifact when the time is right, which means this king is gonna take a royal nap until then.
Why he chooses to do this during a high-stakes mission is beyond me. That would be like in Modern Warfare if Captain Price during the Clean House mission was all like, oh mate, I'm tired, give me a minute to rest, mate.
Welcome to Bottom Gear, mates. I drive a silent electric car, Hammond uses a fucking toilet, and James commits arson. Okay, I'll have a whiff.
He then falls asleep, I guess, and the lemmings decide to steal the artifact themselves, but then the bad guy spots them, and he beats the fuck out of him. He then sees Norm sleeping, and then he kicks Norm off the plane. But while distracted, the lemmings then take over the plane. Meanwhile, Norm gets a phone call, I guess, and apparently his son's being a massive prick. Anyways, long story short, Norm regains control of the helicopter.
Here's Normie!
So Norm takes control of the helicopter and kicks the bad guy off the plane, but because this is a pussy-ass kids movie, the bad guy just has to survive. I mean, come on, bro. I'm a grown-ass man watching kids movies. Give me some fucking gang shit, dude. Wait a minute. No, not that fucking... Yeah, now we're talking. Meanwhile, Norm's son is being a dick, and that's about it.
Check it out. I downloaded some majorly awesome beats.
Norm then arrives in China and meets up with the grandson character, who has to be the least Asian-looking man in China. So Norm tries to give him the artifact, but he's all like,
my grandfather is nothing but an old fool.
But then the bad guy shows up and threatens the main characters with his Komodo dragons or something. He then takes the artifact and leaves, and traps Norm and the other guy with the Komodo dragons. And they're all like, how do we get out of here? Even though you're literally in a classroom, you could call security or something. So anyways, the lemmings tie the dragons' tongues together or something, and then they leave, and that's about it. They then get on a boat together, and Norm tells the other guy that his dad's in a coma. We then get a really pointless monkey scene that serves no other purpose than slapstick. I'm glad my time isn't being wasted. But the bad guy is then following them in the helicopter that he was kicked out of. Anyway, so a bunch of pointless bullshit happens, who cares? The characters then make it to where they need to go, but the one guy's all like, Dexter is going down to the place we need to go to. So Norm writes the other guy to the place, I guess. Meanwhile, the wedding subplot is happening, and that's about it. Oh, what's that? You forgot about that subplot? Well, guess what, buddy? It's been happening the whole time. So more bullshit happens, whatever. Meanwhile, Norm's son is being a dick back at home.
How many times must I tell you?
I'm based in Red Pill!
So the two arrive at the cave entrance, I guess. But the one guy is then all like,
wait, Norm, I just remembered something my grandfather told me.
Break out the butter. Lobster Fest is on Red Lobster.
This corridor is protected by ancient booby traps.
Wow, how convenient. So the two of them are attacked by booby traps, I guess, where, get this, they survive them. So 2 years pass.
Okay, that's it, right?
They then get approached by Dexter, and the good guys are all like, Dexter, no, don't do this. But Dexter's all like, I love money. So really, he's just on a Sigma male grind set. But then the Komodo dragons come back, I guess, and the bad guys are all like, I'm going to do this thing with the treasure. But the good guys all like, oh no, it's not time yet, though. Norm then fucking bodies the Komodo dragons, holy shit. But is then trapped in a cage. So the bad guy puts the thing on the thing, but it turns out it doesn't work. But the bad guy's then all like,
These writings, they're in ancient Mandarin.
But the good guy then sees that there's more text underneath the thing and is all like,
You didn't read the fine print.
And it turns out
it's the secret language of the ancient emperors themselves.
Yeah, that. So the one guy's then all like,
the 9 cauldrons represent honor. So too, only a person of honor, in both word and deed, may access the treasure within the mountain.
Oh, well, how convenient. So glad we have the contrived, only good people can get the treasure arc in this movie.
Since you have no honor, the mountain has rejected you.
Sorry, Dexter, but you acknowledge the existence of Tiananmen Square. Your social credit has gone down. And with that, any chance of me going to China has been completely destroyed. So Dexter then forces the good guy to open the door for him, and lo and behold, it opens. Meanwhile, the other guy wakes up, and that's about it. Dexter then shoots the good guy with a dart that clearly isn't poison. So Norm goes Super Saiyan and opens his cage, and then Norm throws the bad guy in the cage. The lemmings then throw the Komodo dragons into the lava, killing them. And Norm's all like, you're bad, Dexter. The good guy then wakes up, and Norm and him go inside this room with this stuff in it, and the one guy's all like,
my grandfather will be very pleased.
We then abruptly cut back to the wedding subplot, where Norm's son is still being a dick, I guess, and everyone's all like, when will Norm be home? But thankfully, Norm gets home just in time, which means that I'm almost done with this video and I can work on other stupid ass videos. So these two get married, these two characters reunite or something.
You are truly a great king, and have honored the great emperors of China.
Your social credit will go up. Norm's son is then made fun of for being a dick. Sorry, man, should have had higher social credit. Then get a dance number, and yeah, that's it. And this marks the end of Norm of the North 3. And, I mean, honestly, what else do I even say anymore? I mean, I'll give the film this. This is the best Norm of the North movie. The animation is easily at a peak here. It's not amazing by any means, but it is pretty good. Furthermore, the Uncharted Indiana Jones type plot is interesting, when it's, of course, not contrived or extremely rushed, but otherwise, yeah, this was painfully generic. Subplots weren't fleshed out at all and weren't even interesting to begin with. The main plot, while interesting at points, is once again way too rushed to be engaging, and Norm is still, you know, Norm. In conclusion, this is certainly a Norm of the North movie. I'm feeling a light to decent Chinese propaganda on this one.
Never wish you had another life.
Headed towards China.
China?
China.
China?
China.
China?
China!
For weeks I have wandered these arid sands in search of the golden treasure. But on my journey, I reviewed Norm of the North 4. This is where the review begins. Whatever, who gives a shit? So our film begins with the worst snowflakes I've ever seen. It's like they looked up snowflake green screen on YouTube and downloaded the video in like 480p. They cut to the lemming minions who are building a giant penis. No plot significance, I just thought it was funny. And we get our title card, Norm of the North, Family Vacation. Somehow this is the second movie I've reviewed with Family Vacation in the title. Anyway, so a bunch of Arctic citizens are complaining to King Norm, who is comedically on his iPhone. Now, this is actually really relatable because I too was on my phone watching this dog shit movie. Anyways, we get some dialogue.
Hello, I'm a caribou!
And the one bird character is all like, you should be a real King Norm. But then suddenly, everything begins to shake and your mom drops through the ceiling. Oh man, how'd they get your mom in this movie? But real talk though, this is Tiny, who is a killer whale with a magical ability. And that ability, of course, is to make me want to kill myself.
I come before you to ask your approval.
No.
I've only seen this character for 1 second and I already hate him. Anyway, so some shit happens and there's a fart joke.
I hate Mondays.
Did they just rip off Garfield? Okay, anyways, Norm meets up with his bastard children. And he's all like, wow, son, I wish I aborted you. Which, to be fair, you know, I do too. Well, then the one bird character is all like, Norm, you must be a better king. But then his kids are like, oh, Dad, you have responsibilities? No. But Norm's all like, don't worry, kids, I just gotta go get the milk. So he promises some bullshit to his kids. And it's all good in the hood, I guess.
Oh, grow up.
Yes, taking care of your kids? Grow up. Cut back to the clock tower. So these two characters announce something, and the bird character's all like, Norm, you must put your crown on the penis! And we get, no joke, Norm of the North lore. So I'm pretty sure Norm won't fuck this up, and the plot will progress as normal. Cut to that night. Norm goes up to his bear wife and has sex with his bear wife. And if you don't believe me, watch the movie. So Norm puts his crown down in a place where I bet you it won't get stolen. So naturally, immediately next scene, this ice boat pulls up, and this guy comes out of the ice boat. And after some, whatever you call this,
Daddy loves you.
the crown is stolen. Oh my goodness, who would have guessed? So the next day, Norm wakes up and everyone's mad at him for some stupid, contrived, arbitrary reason. It's then revealed that Norm's crown is gone, which makes the bird character even more angry at him.
This is a disaster, Norm!
Oh, you're telling me. So he endlessly bitches at Norm for losing the crown. So they head out to look for it. They then ask the extremely obnoxious whale character if he's seen it, which I should emphasize, this character is extremely obnoxious. The voice actor is literally just raising his voice like this, and it's about as endearing as you expect.
I remember you not inviting me to my President Jubilee Festival.
Apparently, the voice actor is also Brian Drummond, as in like Vegeta. You know what? Voice actors don't get paid enough, honestly. So Norm asks Vegeta Whale for help, and he's all like,
Oh, let me check my sonar chat.
Sonar chat.
Psycho Mantis. It's an app. Wales invented it.
oh, well, thank God we got a topical joke about iPhones. I was really worried about this film's quality, but I'm glad my concerns are finally put to rest. So one extremely unfunny and overly long joke later, it's revealed the crown is in Harbin, China, which is indeed a real city in China. And don't you forget, the film is going to China.
China?
China.
China?
Man, I wonder who financed this thing. Oh, what's this? There's a Chinese company in the film's opening logos? That's really interesting. I wonder what Norm's social credit is. You gotta love how this is the second Norm movie that's Chinese propaganda. Anyways, Norm now has to go to Xinjiang. I mean Harbin, China. Sorry, slip of the tongue. Anyways, Norm's worried about his family. But thankfully, his kids overhear him. And extremely conveniently, his wife gets news of it. And she's all like, whoa, Norm, you planned a surprise family vacation, which is the title of the movie? Wow, that's so amazing of you. So they aboard this ice boat that the Lemming characters made or something. And they're off to China, and that's about it. We then get a scene where the family takes a family picture, but then Norm sees an ice boat, which puts him in a conundrum because you see, he's going to Harbin, China to get his crown back, but he doesn't want his family to know, which will be really bad for the economy or something. But then the ice boat shoots an ice missile, which freezes Norm and his family in the middle of the ocean. But thankfully, Norm's able to contact the one rich guy from the other movies.
How's the vacation going so far?
It's very, ice.
Which allows them to safely get to Harbin, China. Now, you may be wondering, what was the point of all that? So they arrive at Harbin, China, a city made out of an LSD trip. Is this a city or a liminal space? So we get some old movie references. And apparently the residents of Harbin, China are all animals. Where'd the humans go? Is this a post-human society? Anyways, this character sees Skrillex performing and she's all like, whoa, Skrillex? But then, embarrassingly, Norm starts dancing to Skrillex, which leads to an entire dance scene, which is very important to the plot. Norm then sees some tracks on the ground, but he quickly brushes them off for family. We then get an ice skating scene, it's pointless. Cut to Norm's son shopping. He sees these binoculars, and through these binoculars, he sees these two furries, which the film just snaps focus to now. So we're introduced to these two furries, who, if they were in any other franchise, would definitely have porn made of them. The only reason why I presume they don't is because nobody is actually a fan of this garbage. Anyway, so this is Pete and Repeat.
There's many humor and jokes on here.
And they run into Norm, as well as their father, who is a furry who created Harbin, China. They can't make this shit up. Who Norm immediately finds as sus because he can shoot ice missiles with an iPhone. But then the furry mans are like, wait a minute, you're Norm of the North. And Norm's all like, yeah, I star in Chinese propaganda. He then invites them to dinner and they accept, I guess. But Norm then runs off for reasons. And he follows the tracks from earlier, leading him to this place. And yeah, that's about it. Cut to the rest of Norm's family after they eat dinner. So they're given a massive grand tour. But then the two furry characters start fighting for no reason. But fuck that shit, because Norm's investigating now. So he breaks inside the one building. And after a slapstick scene involving stairs, which I assure you is very important and very funny, he makes it to the top, believing the furry man stole his crown. He then accidentally opens a secret passageway, taking a page out of Nathan Drake's book, huh? He goes into this passageway and sees a glass case with nothing in it, but he's locked inside the secret room by the one bad guy from earlier. Meanwhile, the animals back at Norm's home are trying to murder each other, and that's about it. Cut back to Norm's wife, who wakes up alone, and it takes her and the kids this long to realize that Norm might be missing. These characters had dinner, went on an entire tour, and woke up and just now realized that Norm is missing. What an amazing family, am I right? Anyways, we get this horribly edited sequence of the family looking for Norm. Speaking of whom, cut back to Norm, who's very sad and misses his family, and who will hopefully starve to death. But then the lemmings in ninja costumes, Deus Ex Machina themselves back into the plot as they free Norm, which coincidentally Norm's family walks in on. Thank God, how convenient. So thankfully everyone's reunited, I guess. So Norm reveals why he's really in China, and the reason, if you forgot, which I bet you did, is because he's looking for the crown. Everybody's then mad at him over this for one reason or another, and the kids are all like, you don't care about us, only the crown. And it's played off as Norm doesn't spend enough time with his kids.
No, he's right. I haven't been the best dad recently.
But the crown is like a political object, isn't it? Technically, this is along the lines of terrorism. I think parenting would take a bit of a back seat. Anyways, whatever. Let's move on before I accidentally get invested in this shit. So Norm's son runs off because that's the conflict. Why do they even bother at this point? We know he's going to come back. Anyway, so the furry guy comes back, and Norm accuses him of stealing the crown. But it turns out the furry man didn't know about the secret room. And it also turns out the guy also was robbed, which means the only people that could have stolen it were the twins. So yeah, it turns out it was the two furry twins the whole time. So one boring as fuck talking scene later, Norm and his family meet up again, and he and his son make up, I guess, because of fuck exploration. Just have the plot resolve itself, who cares? So 1,000 years of artificial plot lengthening later. You know, actually, good time to point out, the Norm Twitter account, genuinely more entertaining than this movie. Like, you got Norm out here posting some badass drip
with a badass seal of approval.
And even an Alpha and Omega 19s? No way! Okay, anyways, they make it to a secret lair, and the furry man gets brutally murdered in cold blood, I guess. So the family continues inside the cave, but then they get trapped inside the cave and are surrounded by a bunch of snow turrets. However, look, you know how this is gonna end. I know how it's gonna end. Norm and his family win against the turrets. Whoa, I couldn't have predicted that. So they go into this room and approach the tiger furry characters, and Norm gets his crown back, meaning this movie is almost over. The tiger characters then apologize or something, and it turns out all they really wanted was to give their dad a surprise crown for his birthday. Now you may be asking, why go through all that trouble? On top of how did they know about the crown in the first place? But you know what? Who cares? So despite committing a massive political crime, Norm forgives them, and the furry dad characters are like, oh, I'm sorry I work so much. Oh, I love my sons! And then, long story short, because Norm didn't put his crown on a penis, there's a giant storm that's happening. But thankfully, Norm returns home and puts his crown on the giant's cock, and is able to save the day. Whoa! We then get the dance party ending that makes suicide a genuinely viable option. And then the film ends, and yeah. So that was Norm of the North Family Vacation. It was really bad.
Fuck you in the lanes you came with. Me and you ain't on the same shit. You ain't in my lane, bitch, nah. Throw that shit in fifth, rollie on my wrist. Ay, baby, you a star, I'm my only wish. I'm counting blue hundreds, I'm too money. Ay, and my little bitch, she too lovely. Yeah, hanging up and calling me right back. Ay, baby, why you calling me like that? Yeah, getting high with the seat, lay back. Baby, gon' relax, yeah. Hey, they don't know the half, yeah. No matter what happened, I got your back. Baby, that's the facts, yeah. That's the facts, yeah. Yeah, we can fight, but the feeling's gone. I try to find the words, but they never come. I can still see you on the lawn. Hey, laying outside in the summer sun. Yeah, we can fight, but the feeling's gone. I try to find the words, but they never come. I can still see you on the lawn, hey, laying outside in the summer sun. Hey, I'm with a dark-skinned girl on a Sunday, that's that Black Sabbath. She put them ones all down on a Hyundai, and she had to have it. And she come through ready for the runway, shawty, you the baddest. Ay, baby, that's the facts, yeah, that's the facts, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. 1 month of singing, yeah, yeah. 1 year of singing.
Here's to